Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the XP podcast, level 7. I'm getting a little cute with that. You know, XP,
Ooh,
when you
level
max out your
7.
XP, you go to the next level. So I'm going to start naming the episodes levels now.
That's good.
Level 7. My name is Rob, and thanks for joining us here. Today is a pretty special day. You know, 7 is a lucky number. That's what people say. And
right.
on number 7, we have a special guest. That voice you hear is also Austin. Austin, thanks for
Hi.
being here. You know, the other co-host, Adam, is not here because he is in Japan learning the ways of the Tsushima. So
That's true.
he's gone.
Wow.
But we're joined by a special guest, Sunny from SunnyCloudGaming. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Very happy to be here and hanging out with you guys. This should be a lot of fun. This should be a lot of fun today.
Yeah. It is super, super cool that you coming by, hanging out with us just to talk and to give us your knowledge about cloud gaming, dude.
Sure.
It's been a topic of conversation that we've had for a long time. So it's cool to have you here. I'm going to go through the rigmarole and then we'll get right into the show. So the XP podcast is an ambitious casual show. This is your bi-weekly casual podcast where we talk about all things video games and we bring topics to the table to discuss for your amusement. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or corrections, you can let us know over at Twitter at ambitiouscasual, or you can email us at xppodcast@ambitiouscasual.com. Awesome. Utilize the timestamps so you can jump all the way around to the topics that you want to listen to. But I'm telling you right now, if you skip something, you're missing out on some gold.
Absolutely.
You're missing out on some gold.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Why are you skipping?
I don't know. It's just unheard of.
There's no housekeeping today. We're just gonna go straight into the show. Like I said, Sunny, thanks for joining us, man. It's awesome to have you here. My first question for you is you need to stop lying to us. Your voice is not really that smooth. There's no way your voice is
No.
Is that it's like
it's
what
the
voice
power.
mod?
No. It's the power of the microphone. It's just doing all of it. It's literally doing all of it. I used to roll with a Yeti and no one said anything about my voice into the microphone. So I give all the credit to the microphone. It's amazing.
Nice.
Dude, boost that bass. Is that the what kind of mic is that? That's like the mic.
The Shure SM7B. Everyone's got it pretty much. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Dude, your videos have been super cool to jump into ever since Austin recommended you do that one time, which is the clip that we put out that got your attention a little bit.
Yeah. That was it was really cool. A lot of people like that. That was really cool. And people were like, when are you going to hop on the podcast and hang out with those awesome dudes? I'm like, man, we're going to do it. We're going to get it done. A lot of people will wanted to see this in the community, in my community anyways. So
That's
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That brings me a lot of joy, dude. Your videos are great, dude.
Thank you.
I have to say, you're, like I said, joking around, all jokes aside, your voice, you have a great voice. Like whenever you're speaking over, you have a great voiceover. Something that I also like paying attention to a lot is thumbnails. I'm a big thumbnail kind of guy.
Yeah.
And your thumbnails are really clean. So,
great thumbnails.
Yeah, it's funny because it's literally my worst my weakness, and I pay a guy. So I have to pay a guy for that. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, I have no creative way to look at that stuff. And so I just take a template and just put everything in. And it's definitely a weakness of mine. But man, I've only been doing YouTube for a couple years. I've been streaming forever, for like half a decade, probably. Not like consistently off and on, but man, YouTube has just been awesome. And cloud gaming has been something that you would have told me 2 years ago, cloud gaming is what you're going to be doing. I would have laughed at you. And so it's been a wild ride, but a good one. It's been awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that goes right into one of my questions that I had for you. Like in regards to your content creating, when did you start? When did you start content creating?
So YouTube was started in 2019. For sure 19 was when I started seriously in January. 2018 I was dabbling and just streaming, but I started making my first video. I still remember my first like official video was in January 2019. It was covering the Switch, but I've just like the Switch for me always bothered me how underpowered it was, and I just was kind of like I enjoy the portability. I've always wanted to be portable because I've always been a PC gamer for like 15 years. But the portability of having the Switch always just like drew my attention, right? Yeah. Then comes cloud gaming, comes, things like GeForce Now, Stadia, and all this other stuff. And now I'm getting console quality, PC quality on my phone, being able to be mobile. So it's been, in that sense, it's been crazy. But yeah, I was doing the Switch for a year, and then towards the end of 2019 is where I really started to get into the cloud gaming stuff and really taking my channel that I have now here seriously. So Yeah, that's how I kind of got started.
That's cool. I mean, so I have a Switch. I know Austin had one at one point, but he's planning on jumping back in with the whole rumor of a Switch Pro.
Yeah.
And we've had all kind of the same opinion in regards to it. Just feels a little underpowered. Obviously, Nintendo does what Nintendo does.
The games are, it's always amazing in that sense.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah,
they can literally, the games can literally be 720p, and for some reason, everyone forgives them because they have a great Mario game or a great Legend of Zelda game. So that's always been cool in that regard. But where did you get your start in video games? Do you remember what was the first game you probably played?
Yes, I definitely remember that. I was ironically, it was 5 years old or 4, and it was Mario. It was Mario, but it was the first Mario. But it's funny because I never drew an attachment to Nintendo or Mario. I mean, I owned a 64 forever, but I never had that attachment with it. I personally, even to this day, I'm just like not that big of a fan of Mario. I love Zelda. I have more of an attachment with Zelda than I do Mario. Yeah. But yeah, that's how I was 4 or 5 years old playing Nintendo. Been playing video games ever since. Was a console gamer for up until my teenage years, and so I was like 16, and then I saw PC gaming, and I'm like, all right, this to me is insane. So that's kind of been my trajectory there. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Absolutely. I've similar here. Like Nintendo 64 was my first console, but after that, I was like, I didn't buy another Nintendo system until the Switch because I wanted that portability. So yeah, I totally get that for sure.
How old are you guys? I'm much older, I'm assuming. How old are you guys?
I'm 26.
26, yep.
I'm 26 too.
That's because you're saying your first is in 64. I'm like, dang, I'm getting old, man. I'm about to be turning 35 this year. It's just crazy.
Oh, nice. There you go. You're not that old. The 30s, man. I hear the 30s is where the fun begins. You know, it's like
true.
You truly find yourself when you're 30. At least that's what I like to tell myself. I'm like, maybe when I turn 30, I'll have it all figured out.
We're gonna come back in 5 years, and you guys are gonna be like,
don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy because I honestly still feel like I'm in my 20s. I can't even believe I'm about to hit 35, and I'm just what I'm saying. In 5 years, I'm gonna come back to you guys. I'm gonna be like, how do you guys feel? You guys don't even feel like you're in your 30s, right? It's just it just goes by you, especially as gamers. That's one of the things I was thinking about the other day, right? We're this generation. We're like the first kind of generation where gaming's being acceptable when you're 30, 40 years old, you know?
Yeah,
we're like in your generation as well. We're like the pioneers in that sense because we're going to see 50-year-old streamers here pretty soon, like on a more consistent basis. I mean, we see them every once in a while, 40-year-old streamers, and it's just crazy, it's just nuts to see how this is all evolving.
There's this girl, there's this woman on TikTok, and I don't know, I forget what she calls herself. It's like streaming mama or something like that.
Yes,
and
I know who you're talking about.
She appears to be like, I think in her like mid to late 40s or something like that. And like, well, first of all, she's freaking cracked at Warzone. Like she has like these compilation, like hitting headshots, like she's sniping. And she's like, gotcha. And I'm just like, this is insane. What? So I feel like she's the true pioneer.
Oh man. Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
I think what's cool in regards to the position that we're at in video games, especially for you, Sunny, that you're 10 years older than us to an extent, 9 years older. And I think more so for where you're at, I think everyone who's like in games right now who are making games are around your age and grew up, and games are growing up with you, like The Last of Us and God of War that we have now. Like you can tell that these are people that are much older or have grown with games, and like, we need to bring, like, games is still young. Like, unlike movies, it's still young and is still growing. And that's what's super exciting about all of it. So, and soon Tim the Tap Man and Dr. Disrespect and all them, they're going to become older, and
dude, it's
going to show. It's going to be funny, but it's going to show. It's going to show.
Can't wait for their like 80-year-old streams.
Oh my God.
I think there's like a 60 or 70-year-old grandma that streams. I know there's a couple, like there's a grandpa, there's a grandma.
I know you're talking about. There's a grandma,
and they be clicking heads, man. I'm telling you,
dude, they're so good.
360 no scopes and everything. All right, going into our next segment, we usually talk about what we've been playing. And since you are our guest, I want to start with you. What have you been playing recently, man?
So, man, I've been addicted to, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with it, Dead by Daylight. I can't let that go. I've been playing that on Stadia. Been playing it on my PC as well. And my little brother, who's he has autism. He's 13 years old now. He's growing up, so like it's every year I'm just losing track. But he's
Wow.
he got me into it. Like he's just one day he's just like, let's play, and I'm just like, that game. I'm like, all right. Hopped in there, played with him. We played for like a week, and then he's got bored of it, and I'd be like try to get him to play with me, and I have been nonstop playing it for the most part. I've been playing a lot of the new games that come out for Stadia, some of the GeForce Now stuff as well. So like I've been playing some Resident Evil 7. I've never been a fan of the franchise until 7, where is there like it's I've never been more stressed playing a game. Like
God.
I didn't even know you can be stressed out playing a video game, but playing that one is just like so intense, so stressful, and it doesn't scare me though. I've had some jump scares. It's just like it's just so frantic. So that's what I've been doing: Resident Evil and getting prepared for Village that's coming out here soon, and then Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, sweet.
Nice.
I know that there is some Resident Evil content coming to Dead by Daylight soon.
Yeah. I did see that.
So that's pretty exciting. I've been seeing I know there's been Friday the 13th and then there's been Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
But it seems like Dead by Daylight has just like completely just beat Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Because
it's huge.
of the IP that they've been getting. They've been getting Stranger Things and just so much different stuff.
That and I couldn't get into Friday the 13th because the mechanics are a little different. I just remember I couldn't survive as well as the dudes that was trying to run away, and Dead by Daylight's a lot more balanced in that sense. So I actually jump into both the killer and the survivor, and I have a ton of fun playing both, and it just feels more balanced. So really enjoyed it. And with Resident Evil Village coming out soon, that's going to be intense and fun. So I'm excited.
Oh man, I've yet to like make the push into horror games.
I cannot believe, and this is no offense to you, Austin, I cannot believe how many comments I've gotten on my videos of grown men literally scared out of their mind to play Resident Evil. I'm like, we are all grown men, right? There's so many people scared. I'm just like, why? Like, just get in there, man. It's crazy. But I totally get it, though. No, it's all right. No offense to you. There's a ton of people just so scared of it. I just laugh at that. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Man,
Well, that's
to do it.
Austin, I really would love to see you play a horror game, dude. I feel like that fits your personality. Like that's what's great about it. You got to stream
what people
that.
want
This
to
would
see.
be the entire stream.
That's exactly what people want to see.
Oh my God, that's so scary.
In regards to
Man, I'll
Resident
do it for you
Evil-
guys.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I'm gonna put that right on the doc. Make sure that I remind you that when we're done. In regards to Resident Evil, I've played like half of 1. I played 4, 5, 7 is great because it's the first one that's first person. Resident Evil 2 remake. What a beautiful looking game. I did not dip into Resident Evil 3 remake, and Resident Evil Village, technically Resident Evil 8, has me so hyped. Hyped. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be insane, and I'm excited for it. I want to say for the record, I got a press email where they really don't want to call it Resident Evil 8. They really they even went out of their way in my press email to call it Village. I have no idea why, but either way, like man, the game is looking good. But man, I'm it's crazy because as a creator, and you guys know what I'm talking about. It's you have to play these games, and you know they're gonna like freak you out and give you those jump scares. And it's just funny because people just want to see me like freak out and just like, and I'm always like, what is it with people's obsession with watching somebody just like freak out? But I'm telling you, Austin, do it, man. It's going to be hilarious. We all want to see it. I get it from like the viewer, but knowing that I'm the one that's going to look like an idiot on stream, it's just like,
I get it too. Yeah.
Hey, you get great clips out of those.
Absolutely. Gold content. Absolutely. People love seeing grown men scared out of their minds.
They do.
Sonny, have you been playing anything else other than Dead by Daylight and Resident Evil, or has that been your main focus recently?
That's been those have been my main focus. I've tried out a bunch of, because when these games come out, I try them, I play them for a bit just to make sure they're running and looking good. But like really dived in there deep. Those are the two ones. Those are the two games that I played.
Nice, Austin. What have you been playing recently?
So I have been playing I've been playing Outriders and on Stadia.
Nice.
And
really nice.
Yeah. So I guess a little background. Cloud gaming is something I've sort of been getting into in the past month and a half or so. Basically, I was just tired of being locked away in this room, stuck to my PC. And when you have, a partner, a wife, or whatever, it's like that can get isolating. You only have so much time in the day. So I always was just like, it'd be great if I could like we could just chill and like be in the same room, but like doing our own thing. Like she's on TikTok, I'm on a game, but like I didn't have any system like that. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to spend $300 on a Nintendo Switch. I'm gonna explore Stadia and cloud gaming, and so far it's been awesome. But yeah, so I've been doing Outriders, and oh man, I feel I have mixed feelings about Outriders, and I think I know. Here's the thing. I think the game, I think it's great. It's so much fun. I never really haven't played a ton of Gears of War, but the whole third person over the shoulder shooting style is like becoming my favorite. I love it. I love ducking behind cover and stuff like that. So like the game itself, I do really enjoy. I just think, like everyone's saying it, and it's something that can be fixed. It's just a little bit buggy still. There was one glitch I had recently where, and I even tweeted them. I was like, I'm just going to tweet them and see what happens. No response. But I was stuck. Basically, I'd finished this quest, and it was the old man quest. And I'd gone to his house and done the whole quest. And when you finish a quest in Outriders, there's a little logo. You walk up to the logo, and it teleports you back to, wherever you need to go. So when I'd finished the quest, I had to like leave. I had to leave the game and go do something else. So when I got back into the game, that little floating logo wasn't there. In the area that I was in, there was no way to leave the area. I was like, for like 30 minutes, I'm like sprinting around, like where, how do I get out of here? And the floating logo was gone, and you can't fast travel unless you're at the flags or whatever. And so, yeah, I was stuck. I was like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. But there's a feature where you can go back to a different point in the storyline. So I just had to do that, and I had to redo like 2 missions. But I still kept all of my gear, so it was really easy to fly through the missions. So I don't know, stuff like that. I've been seeing stuff of like there was one where everyone's loot got erased. That didn't happen to me, but like everyone's loadout was gone, and the wheels on their truck was gone. There was like one tweet where someone took a screenshot of them like looking into the sky, and they could see the wheels in the sky, and they're like, I found the wheels, y'all. Yeah. So I other than the bugs, I am enjoying it. There is I guess I do have one other complaint. And the amount of like load screens are just kind of annoying. Like you open a door to go in somewhere, and it's like, boom, still picture of art, in a loading screen. And I'm like, wait, what? Okay. And why did that need to be there? And obviously there's so much going on. I don't know much about the background in gaming and the code and all that, but I know that cutscenes and doors are very difficult, and entering into new rooms and stuff like that. But I was a little bit like, man, I don't like all these load screens. But but other than that,
what's weird about all those load screens is that some people were complaining about that whenever the demo came out and people were starting to dip into it. There's like this one particular moment where you and your team will get to this bridge. It'll cut to a cutscene of your characters jumping over the bridge, and then you get back into gameplay. And everyone's like, why do I need that cutscene?
Why do I need that?
So the developers said that during playtesting, like some moments like that, some of the playtesters were like confused as to where they went, because when you would jump, it would automatically teleport some of the characters to where you are, because you're already you're moving forward in the level, and everyone needs to come with you. And so the reason why they put these weird cutscenes is to show people like, this is where you're going. Now, they said it probably wasn't the right answer, but they're still working on that, because there is a lot of weird, like just to open up a door to get to the next place. Like it is a little bit like that.
Yeah. I've been hearing, it's crazy because I've been hearing so many things about that game that sometimes I don't even know. Because I essentially get all my information from a lot of the community, what they tell me, and then it's like, okay, well then I go out and report it, and I'm hearing so much mixed stuff. I'm hearing people, especially on Stadia, oh, it's working great, and then I'm hearing, oh, this is terrible, and then I think the bug you were talking about with the inventory and all that wipe, I don't think that's happened on Stadia, but I could be wrong. But it's probably because it's like on patch 1.0 instead of like the updated patch or something. So there's just been so much stuff, and I think I just saw something last night where somebody said that the patch for Stadia is coming out next week. So
Sweet.
Man, the game has just been a little bit rocky, but at the same time, apparently it's selling like gangbusters right now.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
It's like, it's one of those things. It's like when it works, it's great. Like I love it. You know, I think the combat is so smooth and it's just really fun. Like I love
the combat in that game. Yeah.
Have you been playing that game, Sunny?
Yeah, I've covered it for the channel. I didn't, because I know everything that's been going on, and my time being limited, I know I'll get angry if I'm playing and I'm getting into it and something's in that. So I've just been waiting for all these patches and stuff. So I've been paying attention to it. But it's a great, the little that I've played, I enjoyed the crap out of it. And it's funny because, you know, as a creator, you're just like, all you can do is be honest. But I know I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say I'm enjoying this, but I know I'm gonna get backlash because a lot of people have been so angry because of all the bugs and all this stuff. But it's like all I can do is say what I feel, and the game for me has been really, really enjoyable. I've loved the combat a ton.
Yeah.
I think the game's success has shown so much because of the fact that it came to Game Pass day one.
Yeah,
and obviously that blew up. Like looking at NPD charts, I think it's like number 3 right now. Outriders, number 3 with a lot of bugs.
Wow.
And for some reason, but I think this is already showing the promise of Game Pass, and we'll go into more of Game Pass and that kind of stuff later.
Yeah,
Game Pass
very
interesting. It's a beast in and of itself.
It's a beast.
It is.
Austin, do you have anything else to say about Outriders?
No. I think I've said what I need to say, and I'm excited for the future of that game. But I've also been playing. I've been playing Fantasian, which is the new. It's the new big game, I guess, for Apple Arcade. And that's been really fun. So we've been talking about controllers a lot for mobile devices. I'm obsessed with the Backbone controller. I swear by it. I love it.
Wait. Here it is.
No,
I did a video on it. There it is.
Yeah. Rob, where
this thing is my favorite. This is my favorite one. And I don't have a device. The wife has the device, and I wish this had Android because I have Samsung Galaxy S21. So, but Backbone is so good. It's my favorite controller. The favorite controller that I don't get to use.
I know, right? I know it sucks for all the Android people. And it's funny though because you know, Android has a much more open market for games. They actually have the Stadia app, whereas, you know, on an iPhone you have to go through a web browser. They have xCloud. They have all this stuff. I'm really surprised that Backbone made this exclusive for iPhone. But man,
I emailed them because they sent me this one. I didn't buy it. They sent me this one, and I told them, please, as soon as an Android, if you guys do it, please let me be one of the first people you send that one to. So I haven't heard anything back, but
but so I've been playing. Fantasian's been awesome. I've never really played those types of games. Like my entire childhood, you know, I guess I was just like too ADD or whatever for turn-based combat. I couldn't do it, and people are gonna like roast me for this, but like I'm sorry, y'all, but like I never really got into Pokemon.
You lost me.
I know. I'm sorry. You know, I know I would. I know I would.
I'm kicking you right now.
I know. Yeah, I'll just hang up now. Actually, but turn-based action was something that I was never really into. But me being so in love with the Backbone and really interested and invested in the Apple Arcade and you know all those games on mobile. You know, I saw a lot of previews and stuff for Fantasian. And, you know, one of the big draws for Fantasian is that it is, it's called like diorama graphics or something, where they build physical sets and then they record kind of 3D layers of animation over those physical sets. And you're kind of walking and exploring these actual, you know, photos of real sets that they built for the game. So it's really unique in that. And that's been really cool to explore. It's a really pretty game. And I've only spent like an hour and a half, 2 hours into it. But I'm excited to kind of continue my journey. It's been really fun, despite my whole thing about turn-based action. I'm actually really enjoying it.
It is Fantasian. So I mean, I'll just start dipping into like what I've been playing because I've also been playing Fantasian. Yeah. And like you said, it is a very beautiful looking game.
It's
the dioramas and everything, like it fits the aesthetic so well.
Yeah.
It's turn-based. I'm the kind of person that I love those games. Like I love turn-based strategies. I'm a humongous fan of Pokemon. I love Final Fantasy. All those kinds of games. I love those kinds of games. Persona. I love Persona. Like those kinds. I love those. And so this game, I haven't played something like this in a while. I just haven't had the time to go dip into it or been willing to like dedicate that much time because those games kind of take a while. And so
Yeah.
Yeah.
with our discussions here on XP and just, talking about cloud gaming and mobile gaming and that kind of stuff, I was like, you know what? I need to put some more time into, check this whole area out. So
Mhm.
through my Razer Kishi, I know I'm an outcast, but through my Razer
Hey,
Kishi,
dude, it's
I've
good.
I
been
love the
playing-
Kishi too.
it
The
is good.
Kishi's
It is
good.
good. I've been playing Fantasian through it, and I gotta say, it is really fun. Now the story, a little wonky. I really like. It's kind of it is what it is. As of now, I'm only like 4 hours in, and I still don't like. I'm not
Get
really
it.
grabbed by the story all that much, but I'm willing to
Yeah.
kind of see it through just a bit.
Sure.
But
Right.
overall, it looks cool, and it's
Yeah.
doable for now, especially for it being a mobile game. Like you don't really need all that much power regarding it, and
Mhm.
it is it's technically a part one. So Fantasian
Oh,
part one is
cool.
now, and then in the fall
Oh.
they're gonna come out with part two. So
That's cool.
kind of looking forward to that. I kind of want to go through this so that way I can check out part two in the fall.
Sure.
But other than that, lastly, the game that I've been playing recently, I've been the last time on the episode, my brothers were with me, and
yeah.
so they just left like not too long ago. So I
Mhm.
played nothing. But I've been because of them being back, I've reignited that love for anime so much that I've had.
Mm,
Like it just because
nice.
if I'm focused on making videos and trying to play games, you really don't have time doing anything else. And so
Right.
I recently like bought the season 1 of Dragon Ball Z and
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
whatever. So I've been
Nice.
getting back into that. And so because of that, played Dragon Ball Fighters, which I talked about last time. Still
Nice.
love the game, getting
Yeah.
better, kicking butt. But other than that, my wife and I started It Takes Two, which is by Hazelight,
Yeah.
by
That looks
director Joseph
awesome.
Fares. It is a really, really good game. And
Yeah.
we are practically like halfway through it.
Nice.
I don't want to give too much away because it's a special game to play
Yeah.
with either a friend or a significant other or whatever. But I do have to say this. I've never played a game that's like it. And I know I feel like every
Hmm.
week I come and I say something about a game like that, but I truly mean it with this one because you don't see much games that are built for split screen. Like it just so
That's
happens to
true.
have that feature. And so Joseph Fares is very much so like, I want my games to be split screen because nobody makes games like that.
I
And
know.
so the way that he builds these games out, where in theory, in some games, it will not work out, but he
Mhm.
introduces new game mechanics like almost every level, almost like 3 times within a level. It's a new game mechanic that
Wow.
you don't recycle. And
Yeah.
to an extent, for some people, it's like where there's no learning curve. You can't get good at the game, but for
Yeah.
some reason it works. And recently, like right before like last night before we finished playing and just paused, we went through this level, and I'm not going to say anything because it's a big spoiler, but we went through this level that completely changed the genre of the entire game. And I looked at my wife and was like, I know you probably, because my wife's a casual gamer, she plays Animal Crossing.
That's what
She
I was
loves-
about to ask.
Yeah, she's
How much
casual.
does
She
she play?
plays
Yeah.
Animal Crossing, Life is Strange. She loves the story kind of games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so while we were in the middle of that, and the genre practically changed to a completely different game, I literally looked at her. I was like, I know you don't quite understand what's going on right here, but
Okay.
the significance of this moment of it changing, you are playing a different game that I would never picture you playing right now. And so I will say that the game works. My wife and I have been having a lot of fun. It has been a little bit of a struggle in some aspects when it comes to like, there are some shooting mechanics. And when you introduce the right analog to shoot and line things up,
Dude.
it gets a little
Right.
difficult for someone who doesn't
Yeah.
play those kinds of games all the time.
Right.
But
Sure.
it's forgiven in the sense that its auto aim is pretty strong. So it kind of
Yeah.
helped out in those regards. It does get a little frustrating, but what I do love about the game is that you truly need to communicate with each other. Like no doubt about it.
Oh no.
I
Dang.
really have to be like, we need to do this at this moment, or hey, I'm going left, you need to go right. We need to do this. Time it 1, 2, 3, jump, or whatever. So I'm
Dude,
loving
if
it.
I was like a couples therapist or a marriage counselor, I would like make it a requirement for couples to play that game. That's a
Yeah.
good
Oh, no.
idea.
I wanted to ask because immediately I have my wife. She doesn't she doesn't game much, but every once in a while I'll get her into a game. Like we were playing, I forget the name of the game right now. It's with like a big brother, little brother, and you can control Brother, it's called Brothers. The game Brothers.
Yeah, it's by the same
Brothers.
guys.
It's called Brothers, right? And she likes that story. And I'm listening to you and I'm like, okay, this sounds like I can get her into this. And then I think of, we play Overcooked, right? And you have to have kind of communication. And we just end up getting mad. She gets more mad at me. And then she'll be like, you're not a good leader and all this other stuff. And so
like
I'm just
all
wondering,
this
I'm
really
listening.
deep stuff.
Yeah. So I'm like
just
listening to you.
comes
I'm
out.
like, oh, this game sounds good. And then you just did the communication part. I'm like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is with regards to like so Brothers made by the same guys, made by the same guy who did It Takes Two and A Way Out.
Didn't even know that. Perfect.
So I think that game is like, I think you do it with one controller, right? Or did they update it to where you can control
So they
each brother
updated it for
separately?
two, but when we played it, I did something with a computer. Yeah, so we were two separate inputs, but yeah, they updated it now. You could do two controllers now. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, well then,
Is that on
Thank
Stadia?
you for telling me that.
No, Brothers is not Stadia.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
No.
I think it's on
wish.
Game Pass, but I could be wrong.
Game Pass.
But so in regards to all that, like my wife and I played Overcooked. I totally feel where you're coming from because I do say this. I used to work in restaurants, and so
okay.
Overcooked was my thing where I'm like, okay, I got this down. But my wife never really worked in a restaurant, so I'm like, you need to go do the dishes right now because I'm trying to make the tomato soup. And so I love that game.
Behind you. Come to this corner. Yep.
Oh,
Don't
man.
ever play that
That's
game
awesome.
with 4 people though, because I played that with me and my wife and my brother and his wife. And
Oh no.
my brother is the kind of guy like
Double
he's
date.
like pause the game. You are doing this. You are doing this, and you are just washing dishes. That's it. So it was funny, but
That's
that's
me
awesome.
though. That's I'm the guy that says you do this, you do that, you do that, and then as it's going, I'm sitting there going, do that better, and they're just like, what are you talking? Do what better? They're
What
just
does
like,
that
you're a
mean?
terrible leader. I'm just like, just do your job better.
Just read my mind.
Exactly.
I will say, before It Takes Two, my wife and I played A Way Out. And it's same thing, same concept, same guy, split screen kind of thing. With us playing It Takes Two and her reflecting on, A Way Out and comparing them both, she actually liked A Way Out a lot better so far because it didn't have to do with so much synchronicity. And you kind of, it just relied on both of y'all kind of doing things around the same time. So,
Good.
and that one actually had shooting, and she was like, I kind of enjoyed that one a bit more. So,
Nice.
I personally enjoy It Takes Two a lot more so far because of the fact that it's a different genre.
It's different.
It's not
Yeah.
like realistic like A Way Out is supposed to be, and it's just you give it a try. If you ever have a moment, give it a try. To the listeners and those who are watching, look into it. Obviously read your reviews if you're on the fence about it. But I will say it is a fun game to play, and if you want to play with somebody that's not with you but you're on the same console, you can literally give them a free invite and they can join your game like that without having to pay for the game. That's the cool thing
That's
about
cool.
it.
Oh,
So
wow.
That's really cool.
So my
Really
friend, my brother who's in North Carolina who has an Xbox, I can just send him the invite and you can just jump into the game without ever having to pay for it. So that's the
Dude.
cool thing about that game. But yeah, that's what
Amazing.
we've been playing.
That's
So let's go
awesome.
on to topics of the show, guys. These are a bunch of questions for Sunny. We
All
got
right.
Good old
a
Sunny.
cloud gamer here and
Mhm.
Austin as well, who's been dipping into it. And I've enjoyed the fact that it's to set the stage. When Stadia first came out, what was your thoughts on Stadia when it first came out, Sonny? Like when it was first
Oh
announced?
yeah. Oh man, that's funny because that's kind of what I was saying earlier at the very beginning when I said I'd never imagined myself as a cloud gamer, because I thought, like many people, and to this day many people still think it's not there, but I'm like, there's no way, internet's not ready for this. Cloud gaming, there's no way this is anything to be taken serious. We got another 5 years left to go.
Sure.
That was my initial thought, even with the channel already started and me talking about it, because I was like, I like the concept, but I'm just not sure it's there. And my thoughts were kind of like, I don't think this Stadia thing is going to be potentially that great because I just don't think the internet's there, and Stadia launched and it wasn't pretty. It wasn't a pretty launch at all, but I was blown away by how well it worked. I was like, wait a second, I'm literally just streaming this. Like, this is insane. And I'm doing it through my phone. and I'm doing it. Like, this is crazy. So that was my initial thoughts. I'm just like, I don't know if this is going to be any good right now. And Stadia kind of blew that misconception out of my own head away. Like, I was just like, nope, this is not only great, I feel like I'm playing almost natively here, essentially. Not even almost. I feel like I am playing natively, essentially.
Yeah.
And for me, that's huge because I am a competitive dude in my games. I have been top 10 in the world in like World of Warcraft for like my class.
Wow.
I have been top 1-2% in like Battlefield, like many years ago. All my life when I play a game, even Dead by Daylight today, I'm like in the red. I'm always super competitive, and I need to not feel like I'm playing on the cloud, like Stadia itself, even other ones, GeForce Now. A lot of them just are so good. You feel like you're playing natively. You can play competitively, but yeah, it's just that's how my initial thought was, and it's kind of just blown that away. Now I'm just amazed at how well Stadia works.
Would you say would you say that Stadia is your go-to like main system? Like if you were to main a character, cool.
Well, I mean, I'm a little biased because I have a channel where it focuses on cloud gaming, but Stadia is mostly the number one I cover the most.
Yeah,
I cover all of them, but yeah, I mean it's it's my main thing that I play, main system that I use. And I mean, I am a little biased because of that, but like I said, it's just if I felt when I started the channel, if I felt like I thought that it just wasn't ready and it wasn't performing as well, the channel wouldn't even exist. I would have given up. I'd have been like, yep, this is what I thought. But it's just completely different. Yeah, it's just insane.
Dude,
Austin, where were you when it first announced, like mentally in the moment of, Google has this new effort to start this new cloud gaming thing, and we all kind of, a lot of chatter in the internet was, well, Google always says they're going to do something, then they always back out. And
So
where were you at with Stadia on that, Austin?
Similar state. When I first saw the trailer, I was blown away. I mean, and that trailer, it's a great trailer. It's great graphics of showing it, streamlined on all devices and stuff like that. Yeah. And in my mind, I was like, well, why? I mean, this is the best way to play games, in my opinion. Like, this is the best way to have a console. Something you don't even have to have you don't have to have physical hardware, besides something that opens a web browser. And that was something that really excited me because, for me, I was always wanting to play the games on my PC or on my Xbox or PlayStation, all those kind of big AAA titles. I was like, man, what if I could play those on like a mobile device? And I remember growing, in childhood being like, I want Xbox to make a portable device, or I want PlayStation to, they did make a portable device, actually, PSP. Love the PSP. Yeah. So it was really exciting. But it was not something that I really delved into when it first came out. And, I heard all the backlash, and it definitely had a rough start. But it really wasn't something that I considered for a while. But the whole concept is, it's amazing. It's like you're in the future. And I always tell everyone, like, my internet, I have pretty good internet, but like right now my router is the one provided to me by my provider. So like I have a Spectrum router. And so I'm unable to like prioritize, what device gets better Wi-Fi essentially. So I can't prioritize, Stadia, or I can't prioritize that service. So sometimes my experience is a little bit laggy. At times I kind of get, a little robotic in my game, and sometimes, just like full transparency, I have to stop. Like, I don't know what's going on, but like I can't play. I can't play right now. But I always tell everyone, when it works, it's like, I feel like I'm in the future. Like, it's insane. Playing Outriders on my iPhone with a just a little controller attached it's amazing. So yeah.
I mean, and that's a really good point. I want to say for the record, it's crazy because you can play on so many different devices, different controllers, and there is still truth to even my thoughts back then, where this still isn't 100% ready because people are still having problems. I think my sister-in-law just a week ago said she was having some issues, and she's not she's like not tech savvy at all from what I can tell. Yeah. And she's like explaining me the issues, and she's like, I think the controller's just busted. I'm like, it sounds like you're just kind of dealing with some like lag. And so It's gonna get better and better with things like 5G, which is just what I just upgraded just a week ago, and doing 5G. I was playing 4G on Stadia and it was working really well, which was surprising, but it does vary from person to person. And I think as this gets better, in terms of the internet, as the years go on, it's just going to be more and more crazy, and it's just going to work a lot better. And a lot of things that I've been looking at lately, especially, I don't know if you guys saw that Blockbuster thing on Netflix lately. I know you guys are a little young now, but Blockbuster, when I used to work at a Blockbuster.
Oh man,
and
I love
Netflix, and Netflix ended up taking over, right? And Netflix. Yeah. You know, it started the way it did, and it was kind of a slow roll, and it just got more and more steam. And now we're seeing, you know, xCloud, and we're seeing like all this different stuff, and it's gonna transition. I think I've always said that cloud gaming, Stadia, these are not gonna like take over. I think people are still gonna want consoles, gaming PCs, gaming on having a beast of a gaming PC, or just, you know, in general that's never gonna go away. People are always gonna want that stuff, but I think cloud gaming is gonna be part of the future. And at the moment, in terms of performance, Stadia is kind of leading that way, but so is everyone. I mean, xCloud, all the games that they're getting, you know, PlayStation now, all this stuff, it's pretty insane to watch this evolution. As even just when I started in 2019 till now, you're seeing it, and it's pretty neat. But I'm with you. It's still up and down for quite a few people. And you know, it's that the one thing that I wonder the most about is people who, like yourself, Austin, who have had those issues. Is that misconception still, or not misconception, but is that thought always going to stay with them? Oh, this sucked this time ago, and will they try it again? So that's going to be key. In what happens with cloud gaming in kind of the years ahead. Yeah,
I think for me, it's like, it's still having those moments where my game just isn't functioning like it would on a physical. For me, it's still, the good still outweighs the bad. Like, I'm like, sure, it's freezing, but like, I didn't have to spend $500 on a console. Like, it still outweighs it. I have a question. So let's say hypothetically, and like 10 years from now, all of the massive, you know, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, they have cloud gaming down. Do you think Stadia will hold up to that? Do you think they will, you know, will they be competing with them or not?
Well, that's a tough question. Ooh, that's one of the toughest questions I've ever gotten, for sure. Because as you guys know, there was some stuff that happened earlier this year where Stadia shut down their own studios. So it does put into question Stadia's future, and it's something that even to this day I'm harping on my channel. I think I just made a video over a week ago saying, you know, I've seen some good stuff, but the question is Stadia still looking to get big games past this year and next year? And that's a really good question. I feel like if there's one area that Stadia excels in, it's performance. And they've touted in their own like trailers and even talking, they've said, 120 FPS and 8K and all this other stuff. If they can be at the forefront of that performance part of it, I fully expect them to still be 10 years from now. But if Nintendo and all these other ones are getting their first party games out and their stuff, like if we're seeing Super Smash on the cloud, you know, and all, it's gonna be pretty crazy. The competition will be pretty crazy, and Google will eventually have to, in my opinion, make their own games. Here's the one thing that always excited me about cloud gaming is cloud only games. I don't know how much you guys have ever put any thought into that, but the fact that you can make, you're not limited to making these games into an Xbox, or because if I'm going to be honest with you guys, even like the newest consoles, the PlayStation 5 and all that, they're already almost outdated if you have the newest stuff on a gaming PC right now. If I have like a 3090 and all this other stuff, those are already outdated. You can make a game and not worry about those hardware restrictions of all the different PCs you have to try to get the game onto, or all the consoles, the limited console, because you guys know these consoles last for like 5 years. If you're making a cloud game and you can make this thing bigger than ever, I don't know about you guys, but when I was young, like I'm talking like 10 years, 12 years old, I always imagined like a huge world with like thousands of us, you know, at the players, thousands of players at the same time, maybe going to war, you know, we're at the front lines and we're charging another side with 1,000 NPCs or something. I feel like cloud gaming has that potential. And I could see us, I'm going to be an old man it feels like I'm going to be an old man by the time those types of games come out, because they will. But I think that's where cloud gaming is going to really like do it. And it kind of just depends who does that. Who's the one that makes those types of games that blows our mind away, that we've all wanted to see,
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love this conversation so much, because in regards to, and you're on the money with everything that you're saying, Sunny. So when Stadia was first announced, they had the face of Phil Harrison, formerly known for Microsoft, formerly known for Sony Computer Entertainment. Like he's a figure. And when he came out on that video with the white background and all the logos floating behind him on Stadia, I was like, yo, this is cool. This is cool. And then they brought in Jade Raymond, who was known for being on Ubisoft for the Assassin's Creed stuff and forming the studio to make their own original IP. And then, just like you said, beginning of this year, completely shut it down. And I think for me, like, I've been a console gamer my whole life. Like, PlayStation 1, first console. And then from then on, I've just loved console games. Like, that's just been my big thing. But I think what's bigger than that is in technicality, I don't care about the box. Like, this PS5 and my Xbox, I really don't care about it. It's what games they have on them. And the reason why I have a PlayStation is because of the exclusives that they have. The reason why I have an Xbox is the exclusives that they have. And the games that Stadia is getting right now, unfortunately, are also being utilized on both of these consoles as well. And I think, to me, and I mean, I like to see what you have to think about that. When they shut down their first party studio, I was like, man, this really brought you down just a bit, because of the fact that there's no incentive for someone to want to stay on, to be a Stadia Pro member and to stay on here, because then, the price is cheaper. But in my mind, I'm like some people usually get onto these for the exclusives or for the performance. And when Stadia was first announced, there was rumors that Xbox was going in that direction. And when I saw it first announced, I was like, oh, this is smart. Google's getting ahead of the game. They're trying to beat them out. And there was a little bit of hiccups when it first was released. But what I hate is that none of the industry was talking about how good it ran. And recently we saw that with Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was horrible on a lot of consoles, even on some people's PCs, because they just weren't up to spec. But on Stadia, everyone was saying that's the best way to play Cyberpunk.
Right.
Like, and in my mind, I was like, why isn't Stadia saying this? Why didn't they just put it out? And they probably did. I didn't see it, but a statement to be like, hey, play Cyberpunk on Stadia. This is the best way to play, the best performance ever. And I feel like that could have done it. So I feel like going from here on out, now they have to lock in some exclusives or some third party, like, time exclusives. So what do you think in regards to that, Cindy, in regards to like original IP exclusives and that kind of stuff?
Well, that's where a lot of us are hoping they're headed, in that direction, where they're potentially, they said, okay, we're going to shut down our studios because, it's costing us all this money. And I had heard from the inside that, and it's already public, so I can say this, that it was because, the things that have happened with COVID and all this other stuff really changed how much. And you got to remember that this was like something that hadn't even made their first game, so they probably weren't running optimally. They've never done that before, but we are all hoping, especially myself, that not only are they being consistent getting out these big games, and they have been lately with Outriders came out, and that was supposed to be delayed on Stadia, but they are potentially looking to make deals where, okay, you're not going to make your own games, fine, go ahead and hire. Now, I can't even think of somebody because Microsoft's buying everyone up, but hire, this big third-party publisher to make, hire Square Enix, to make a Final Fantasy for Stadia and maybe make it a timed exclusive. Like, that's what we're hoping for sure, because otherwise it's going to be hard for Stadia to grow. And it's cool to get games day and day. And, it does, in my opinion, Stadia and cloud gaming in general, not just Stadia, but appeal to what Austin was saying earlier. I want to be in there and I want to play on my phone while I'm with my wife. I've noticed that and I've tried to gather the pulse of my community every way I can. The majority of my community is all 20s, 30s, 40s, all with wife, husband, all with jobs, and booting up a game, doing it from anywhere because, my kids got to use the TV. So I'm going to go over here, That convenience is great, and they got something there. But the games at the end of the day are still the biggest thing. And I'm with you on that on that. And they have to hopefully go in that direction. Otherwise, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm still asking that question even to this day on my channel. Guys, what's the plan as in regards to Stadia? What's the plan beyond this year and 2023? Because they've already talked about this year's already done. They've already gotten all the games that are coming out this year's already been planned and set. So that's going to be key, and it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
In regards to the cloud gaming services that you use, I know that you talked about GeForce Now, you talked about Stadia, xCloud has also been a thing. Have you dipped into Luna at all?
Yeah,
Amazon.
Yeah,
Luna?
I played them all. Yeah, Luna's been pretty impressive. For me they just don't have any games at all. Like for me, there's hardly any games on the service right now that attract me. But I feel like Amazon they're almost treating Luna essentially like Amazon Prime with their movies and how they do everything there. And it looks like their goal is to kind of just do the Netflix type thing. Only you buy like an HBO channel. You have Amazon Prime, but you can buy the HBO channel, right?
Yes.
Right.
Or you can buy the Cinemax or something. That's not, that's not. But you guys know what I mean. So, and I think they're going that route, and I think that's a great route to go, because when a lot of people think of cloud gaming, they think of that Netflix stuff, and I think that's pretty good, guys. I mean, Xbox Game Pass with xCloud right now, it's just like the amount of games that are getting on there. I mean, Outriders is on xCloud. The thing with xCloud is it just doesn't run well, like at all. Like it's garbage for me, and I have 1 gig download speed. Oh, it's super garbage, and I wish it wasn't. Now they're going to improve it this year. They're going to improve it, and I don't think it's going to improve by leaps and bounds. But that's the thing I told you guys earlier. For me, when I'm cloud gaming, I don't want to feel like I'm actually cloud gaming. I want to feel like if it's native, and Xbox still has a ways to catch up, but they have the game. So it's interesting to watch the approach. So, Luna's like, all right, we're going straight into Netflix. xCloud's like, all right, we're getting all these games here that no one can even come close to competing right now. Stadia's like, all right, we got the performance and we're trying to get these games in here. So it's just crazy to see all the different approaches.
Yeah.
That's rad. That's rad. So I have a MacBook, I'm an iPhone, I have no access to xCloud. So I'm glad to hear your take on that, because I never knew exactly how it was doing so far, because they still consider it in its beta mode. And this is probably going to be like that for a while until they probably get clean it up a bit. But something that I wanted to ask you, and you brought it up about Luna, they have channels, and that's very interesting. Like Xbox Game Pass, we have Xbox, and then when they also have EA Play tacked onto it. And there's been conversations about what are they going to do next? Uplay from Ubisoft or whatever. And I think Ubisoft has a channel on Luna. Do you see that as a way that, do you see anyone else adopting that format? Because when I saw that, I was like, that's very interesting, because then I kind of can just go pick what I want instead of having to just get it all, I guess.
Yeah. Are you asking if you're going to see others adopt Luna's way?
Do you think anyone will adopt that format? And what is your opinions on the format of channels?
I think it's the future of how cloud gaming is going to be, because when people think, like when Stadia first launched, everyone was so disappointed that it wasn't Netflix. They were like, wait, I got to buy the games. I don't actually get access to this. This isn't like Netflix. Like, it threw everyone off. I have like a million complaints of how Stadia launched, and that's definitely one of them. They didn't market it correctly because everyone thought it was going to be Netflix. And it took them a while before they clarified how it was going to be. I absolutely think it's going to be part of how the future was. I've never said this out loud, so you'll get it here first, and it's something that I feel like Stadia should think about in the future, maybe as they go forward. But I think they should consider going that route themselves with the ability to have the option to purchase your game. I think that's the way that this should go in general. Having that huge, because I think that's what xCloud's doing. I think they're doing it right. They're gonna have all these games that say, hey, if you enjoyed this game, you enjoyed Outriders on xCloud, but you want to buy it because, hey, this might leave the service one day. Well, then you get that option to buy it, and then it's always gonna run. So I think that is the future of the channels. Amazon's doing, Luna's doing it kind of a little different with channels. I mean, Stadia kind of has it too with Ubisoft Plus. But I think it's definitely part of the future, and it's funny to see it because we're seeing that with like Netflix, Hulu. We have all these different I don't know about you guys, but I have Netflix, I have Hulu, I have HBO Max, I have Disney, I have all 4 of those that I'm paying for. And the gaming is going to go in that same direction, no doubt, in my mind.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cloud
Absolutely. GeForce Now has I think they kind of stick out to me because they have the capability of playing games that you already own. And correct me if I'm wrong, you own these games. Say you own Witcher on Steam. I own The Witcher 3 on Steam on my PC. GeForce Now allows you to access your library, but you're playing the game that you own on their server. So it's like, it's not pinging off of mine. See, that's interesting because I think that feature is huge, and that might phase out when people are eventually on a whole new system of how they acquire games. But for now, I really wish I could play Witcher 3 on Stadia. I mean, there are services, there's Steam Connected, stuff like that. But, do you think other cloud gaming services are going to adopt that same feature that GeForce Now has?
No, because I think it gets too complicated trying to get them on. So it's funny because GeForce Now, when they officially launched, they got out of beta last year. Right before that, they were consistently on a monthly basis getting bad press because people were opting out, you know? Okay. And so I think it kind of makes that little dynamic there a little complicated, trying to get these publishers and developers to opt in. And it's weird because they're just playing the game that they bought, that they paid you, and they're just using this medium to play the game. And so GeForce Now is really, really interesting in that sense. The thing with GeForce Now is that you can buy a game, but you're not guaranteed it's going to be on GeForce Now. And some of their stuff is their UI is a little clunky, but I always love the thought, hey, because the cheapest gaming, in my opinion, you can do, consoles, whatever, if you go on like one of these key seller websites, or if you go on Steam sales, nothing's cheaper than that, including consoles game sales. So it's so good because you can buy a game so cheap, and then you're just doing cloud gaming. You don't even got to download it to your PC, especially if it's a big game like Witcher or anything along those lines. So it's interesting. I wish that was more of the way it was. Like people go, I remember when Stadia first launched, and even today people go, why can't Steam and Stadia just get together? And it's just like, well, that's just not how it works, so
that's interesting about it all, is the fact that you pointed out Stadia so far is just a storefront with the capabilities of just streaming your games. That's the only way you can play them. I agree with you in regards to everything that you named in regards to the services that you have. Same thing, but then we have Paramount Plus, we have Peacock, we have every single thing is wanting something, and we're getting to a point now where, like you said, we have Ubisoft Plus, we're gonna have EA, we're gonna have every single developer, because in technicality, that's the way you make money. Like that's the only reason why everyone's doing this, because that's the way you make money. And so I do see other places dipping into that, and I'm surprised that Stadia doesn't have anything that's like a Game Pass yet. I don't know if that's to do with the fact that their platform is not promising yet to developers to want to be able to give them something like that, because for them to just have Red Dead Redemption 2 on their storefront, they had to pay like how much millions of dollars up front just to have it on the storefront, because I'm sure what's the name of the company, Rockstar Games, I'm sure they were like, we're not sure if this is promising enough, so let's see a little bit of money in the front end before we even commit.
And there is Stadia doesn't have Game Pass, but it does have Stadia Pro that has around 30 games. And it's funny you mentioned that, because like I want to say a good 6 months ago, I was sitting there going, Stadia sees what Xbox is doing, and with xCloud, there's no way they're going to continue, because at some point there was like good 40 games on there, and they've kind of dialed it back a little bit. And in my mind, I'm like, this is just going to keep going, and they're eventually going to get kind of to that Netflix, and they kind of dialed it back a little bit. So it's been a little surprising to see less games on there, and I still think that, in my opinion, to really, really compete down the line, years down the line, because they have the tech. And for me, that's the most important part of the cloud gaming portion of it, because the misconception is this stuff isn't ready. But I'm with you on that. And I want to say, for the record, just deviating somewhat slightly with your point that you just said, Microsoft, when it first did that, the original Xbox, and they got into gaming, they had to. I think they lost like 4 to 6 billion. So I've never had a problem with Stadia. Spending 10 million or 15 million to get Red Dead Redemption on there, because you have to spend money to make money in gaming. So I'm with you on that, and I hope that as this goes on, it gets a little bit more, even more accessible and more like streamlined in regards to potentially being on Stadia Pro, and Stadia Pro being kind of like a Game Pass. But I know I'm going to get some flack within my community, but I've said this stuff for a long time. I'm just now saying it again now that I've had time to think about it. But yeah.
So we've had beginning of the 2000s, we had the pillars. We had console gaming, we had PC gaming, and handheld gaming, portable gaming.
Yeah.
And portable gaming has now slowly started transitioning into cloud gaming. And here we are with the 3 pillars now. We have consoles, which the 3 big guys: Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
We have PC gaming, which has its own thing, which is always going to be ahead of everybody, no matter what. The consoles are chasing after the PC. And they'll never get there, because that's just how it goes. And then we have cloud gaming, which now we see Stadia, we have Amazon Luna, and now we're seeing Xbox start dipping into that. And what's interesting about it is the fact that I feel like we're seeing Xbox in a new way right now, and Xbox is getting so much praise right now because they're doing a lot of cool stuff.
Sure.
But I think what's interesting is the fact that I think they're transitioning from hardware, and they want to really focus more on software. I think that's where their main thing is. I don't think they really even care about the Xbox Series X all that much and the Series S. I think they really want to focus so much on the services that they provide. And so we're seeing them already getting ahead of it. And now when we see one of the 3 pillars within console gaming starting to dip and convert into 2 different areas at one time, I just want to pose this question out there. Obviously now, and I know Austin touched on it a little bit, PlayStation and Nintendo has to do the same thing too, right? Or can Nintendo survive just being only console, and can PlayStation only survive being only console? Because what we've been seeing recently is it's weird. I feel like we're seeing PlayStation start taking cues from Nintendo, and they're like, no, you can buy our games at $70 and they're going to stay that way. Or we can remake a game, which the rumors of a Last of Us remake for the third time being remade to be sold at a $70 price point, bundled with the Last of Us Part 2. Like, they don't mind nickel and diming everybody, because they want the money. Do you see them transitioning to cloud gaming anytime soon?
I mean, Nintendo's already somewhat dabbling into it. They had a couple games like Hitman was on the cloud, and Control on the cloud. I mean, PlayStation Now is there, and I literally just started messing with PlayStation Now a week ago after not messing with it for quite a while. They're just going to be slow about it. And just nailed it, Rob. You literally nailed everything there. And I have to say, I think it's a mistake that they're not trying to stay somewhat at least parallel with Xbox right now, because I think here's the thing that I talk about all the time, and I'll be quick about this. There's a lot, and it's something that a lot of us don't realize, but there's a lot of people in a lot of different countries that don't have access to consoles, because if they get the consoles in their country, I'll say Mexico, because I've been there, I've practically lived there for like half a year. Even if they get the consoles over there, they don't get them for a normal price. So if like an Xbox Series X costs $499 here, they'll get it over there imported, but it'll be like $200 or $300 more. So it's not accessible to get consoles. And you forget PC gaming. That's not even a thought, really.
Yeah.
So there's millions and millions, probably hundreds of millions of kids and people our age that want to play these games.
Yeah.
Cloud gaming is going to be that bridge for them, because even the poorest countries, I'm telling you, even in where my family's from, they're super poor. If there's one thing they have that's fancy at all, it's a phone. That's like that'll be the fanciest thing that they have. It could even be like 4 or 5 years old, but it's still a phone, and they can sit there and they can play these games, these AAA games that we kind of take for granted, and they've been wanting to play for so long, and cloud gaming is going to bridge that gap. So Xbox doing what it's doing, getting these games, eventually going to focus on that performance. I think they're just a little bit miles ahead of everybody else, and they are losing out, in my opinion, as the years go on. And Phil Spencer did mention how he thought Google and Amazon, he said this about a year ago, maybe over a year ago now, where he said that those two were his main competitors, not even PlayStation or Nintendo. So it's so fascinating to see how this is all evolving.
It's so cool.
one of the great flexes I have on cloud gaming is, I have a friend at work and he's been like, what have you been up to? I'm like, oh dude, I've been playing Destiny 2 on Stadia. And he was like, oh cool, like, oh man, I wish I had, the funds to, get all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, you just have to have a Gmail. Like, you just log in, and Destiny 2 does not require the pro membership. It doesn't require anything. If you have an email address, you can put hours into an incredible game. And I think that speaks volumes. And,
Agreed.
I think the whole point of, the marketing for every big company ever is bringing people together. And cloud gaming is definitely going to do that. It's definitely going to impact the entire world in a huge way. Because like you said, everyone has a cell phone. So if everyone has a cell phone, they have an email address, boom, like they're gaming. And I think that's massive.
Nailed it. Yep.
Yeah. And just to kind of end off on this conversation, I think what's interesting is that we're starting to see a relationship build up between both PlayStation and Epic Games. I know they just invested another 200 million into the company. Before that, they invested a lot more money into it. Epic Games, known for the Epic Games Store. They've had some flack over the years about certain things in regards to the exclusivities, but the cool thing about Epic Games is the fact that they give so much money back to the creators by giving them a higher percentage. And I feel like there's no way that the people who make Fortnite, that's on every single device, is not going to start dabbling into cloud gaming somehow. And I feel like there's going to be a relationship that we might see soon between both PlayStation and Epic that might allow for some cloud gaming going on a bit. Cloud gaming on PlayStation PS Now, I'm sorry, it's garbage. It is the worst. I hate it a lot. Exactly what you're saying, Sunny, dude. Like when we're seeing Azure, Neuralink. We've seen a lot of these places trying to provide more so of a stable connection for the world. We have places like in Brazil where they still only have the PlayStation 2 and they get new PlayStation 2 games every year. Like, it's allowing for the possibilities of that being out there, and who's going to be ready for them the moment they get access? That's going to be Stadia, Amazon, and Xbox, Microsoft. Right. And I think what's crazier than that is the fact that when Xbox acquired Bethesda for $7.9 billion or something, it was close to that. Sony didn't have Sony, the company who owns PlayStation, didn't have that much money in the bank, but Microsoft, the company, they bought it. And then I think, within 2 weeks, they accrued the money that they just made by buying them through Azure, like that. And so it's like Microsoft, like Xbox is just the hobby for Microsoft. And so no matter what, and it's so cool. Phil Spencer is just like, he's really leading this new charge, and I'm very excited about it. I'm so excited for it.
I'm with you.
Lastly, a couple questions. What is your most anticipated game of the year so far?
Wow. I'd probably have to say it's Village. I'm shocked at how much I've been enjoying the Resident Evil franchise, because I just never cared for it up until 7. So now I think it's my most game that I'm most excited for. And give an alternate. I think Far Cry. I'm a big fan of the one actor, and for me, those are probably the two games.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh,
I can't wait to see that game. And my last question: what does the future of cloud gaming look for you? I know Austin kind of did the whole 10 years. Do you see any big developments happening this year, or it's going to be more of a trickle? And it's going to be like 5 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, oh, I totally missed that. We've been kind of going like this the entire time.
There's not much going to happen this year. I mean, I know a lot of stuff that's going on that I can't talk about with just other servers, not even Stadia, but other stuff. And from what I'm hearing, it's going to be a trickle. It's still not there yet. It's going to be I don't even think anything huge is going to happen next year. It's going to take a couple of years for sure. So it's going to be a bit of a slow roll. I think just improving internet, getting more 5G into people's hands is going to be key. The internet itself. I mean, even here in the States, I mean, we have data caps. That stuff needs to go. This is ridiculous. I just paid data caps just a couple months ago. There's a lot of different changes that need to happen. Bit of a slow roll going to happen this year, next year. I think by 2023, you're going to start to see some really major stuff. And I think even hopefully, I know Xbox apparently might be working on some cloud games themselves. So really, when those start to appear too, that's going to be huge. If even Amazon ends up doing it themselves with Luna, because I know they got their studio. So it's going to be interesting, but it's going to be quite a few years still.
Yeah,
Cool.
Pretty much.
dude.
Yeah.
I have to say, Sunny, I think like it's so interesting because I think your sort of niche of cloud gaming that you've really grabbed. I can't wait to see how your channel grows because
Yeah.
of cloud gaming. Because I mean, I've only really been researching and watching videos about all of it for the past month or so, but I've seen that you and a few other people are very prominent in that space. So like,
Yeah.
I'm excited for you and to see how your channel is going to grow because of how exciting cloud gaming is. So I just want to commend you, dude. You
Thank
post
you.
so much, which
Yeah.
as content, and any content creator will know, like that takes a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of effort to be putting out those videos every day and all sorts of stuff like that. So just keep going with it. I love your videos. I'm up to
Thank
date.
you.
Like I haven't missed a video in the past few months. Like I'm always like, yeah, new video, yes. And even if it's a
Thank
game,
you,
I'm
man.
like, I'm never gonna play that game. I'm just like, you know what? I'm still here with the videos. So keep it up, dude. It's awesome.
Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot because I don't think a lot of people know how hard content creation. It's so hard
tough.
to. It's tough. So it's cool to talk to some fellow creators and hear that. So I really appreciate that. Thanks, man.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
Yeah. There's a lot to content creating, especially like when.
Yeah.
And I know you probably transition from that, but when you have a full-time job, but you're trying to also do
Which I do,
full-time
yeah.
on content creating.
Yeah.
Oh
Dude.
my god.
What do you
Trying to
do?
balance
What do you
all
do
that.
full
And the
time?
wife. So I work with kids with disabilities, autism. I work with my little brother. Yeah. So
Sweet.
it's
That's
not a
awesome.
demanding job, which gives me the opportunity to do this stuff as well. So that's key. I'm able to do that. And then you guys have ladies. I have my wife, and so it's definitely difficult, but
Yeah.
it's been so much fun. The community that I have is so. It's honestly, and I'm not trying to like say this because I'm sure every creator will go, my community's great,
I love you guys.
my community is just, I've never seen a more giving. I come from the Nintendo community in 2019 when I first started. It's so different. They're I think it's because they're just all older, just more mature, more like supportive, and it's just mind blowing. And it's literally because of them, it makes it so much easier because you guys know it's a lot of hard work
Yeah.
to make these videos all the time, and it's just been all a blessing. So, and it's cool to see cloud gaming just be part of the future and kind of going along with that. So it's really, really neat.
Heck yeah, dude.
Absolutely. I got like a little taste of that love when we were like, I guess, tweeting and stuff like that. And I think a few of your followers would
Yep.
like reply to mine. And I'm like, man, these people, they're so nice.
They're-
They're just great people.
It's crazy. Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited, and Sunny, thank you for joining us on the podcast, man. It means a lot.
This has been a ton of fun. I hope you guys ask me back, actually.
Oh,
So,
absolutely, dude,
please.
you're welcome.
you
to
guys
come
can
back
ask me back.
anytime.
We can talk
Anytime.
anything. We can talk anything. This has been a ton of fun.
Yes. Thank you for joining us, man. I'm really, like Austin said, and just to piggyback off of it, you hit that niche, and that's great.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the joke of the main video, the clip that we sent out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's a niche out there, and you hit it.
Yeah.
And I really hope that one day we see you on a Stadia presentation in 2022 presenting something, like because
2022.
you see streamers out there that were on like the Xbox Indie showcase, and they're
Yeah.
streamers, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to see you doing that because you're in the niche and you're starting to grow, and once it blows up, dude, you'll be right there. So thank you for joining us,
Thank you.
man. I really appreciate it. Your knowledge and everything regarding cloud gaming and video games as a whole it is more than welcomed, and we would love
Thank
to have
you.
you back anytime soon.
Sweet.
So really appreciate that, Austin. Thanks for joining us again. I mean, you are here all the time on the XP podcast, level 7.
Yes, I am.
Before we sign off, Sunny, where can people find you on everything that you do?
You can find me on Sunny Cloud Gaming on YouTube, and I think Sunny Cloud Games on Twitter.
Cool. Sweet. And then, guys, this is the XP podcast, level 7. Getting cute with that, episode 7. Where we go bi-weekly talking about all things video games in a casual sense. We're still trying to figure out our flow for the show. But I think we kind of bring up topics to the table to just kind of talk about and just see how people react to those different kinds of topics. So unfortunately, Adam was not here this year. Like I said, this episode, he's gone for the whole year. He's out learning from ghosts in Japan. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.